Hey guys, Dan here,
And my name's Frank. You may know me from GodzillaIsland.com and Twitter as Godzilla Island and Snackerzilla.
and we are the Amazer Squad podcast. You can find us wherever popular podcasts are found, or on our YouTube channel at Mazer Squad, youtube.com/Mazer Squad. This is going to be our first episode, so we're going to do a little bit of an intro on what the podcast is going to be, and then get into it.
Yeah, we are we're mostly gonna cover monster movies, kaiju movies, sci-fi movies, everything related, comics, toys, books, video games, TV shows, Ultraman, Power Rangers.
Yeah, and we'll be covering any major news surrounding those topics. Um, So we're going to be also on our YouTube channel releasing exclusive videos. So not just podcast material, but also just regular YouTube style material. So if you're interested in that, again, check out those channels and consider giving a like rating, whatever you have on your podcast platform. So I guess we'll just get into the news. First off, we're going to start with releases, and today is Ultraman Season 2 Day for the
Yeah,
anime.
yeah. I just finished binge watching season one today myself, second watch, and this time around, I found a lot more Easter eggs than I did the first time. Since the first time, I only had Ultra Q and Ultraman under my belt. This time, I had Ultraseven and about half of Return of Ultraman, which I stopped watching so I could rewatch season one. And the early news I'm hearing about season two is that it's only 6 episodes long, which is pretty disappointing. But I'm sure it'll still be good because season one was awesome.
Yeah, from seeing the trailer, it looked like it was like a shorter story arc, or I was thinking that maybe they're showing us like half of the story arc, and then the second half of the season would kick in with something else. So I would say this is still like the half that I thought that we were getting. Maybe that means we're going to get season three a little bit quicker though,
Yeah,
because
it could
there's
be.
been a long gap between seasons, but also pandemic, so it's
Yeah, I mean, it,
reasonable.
it was about 2 years, and I was reading the mangas in between just to fill the gap, just to hold out for season two. And I didn't finish all the mangas. I'm just a few books in past season one, and from what I could tell from the trailer, I didn't try to watch too many of the trailers. I watched the initial teaser trailer, and from what I could tell, it looks completely different from what happens after season one in the manga versus the show.
Yeah, I'm assuming they probably figured that they would just use the manga as a stepping stone, and then have the creative team split and just do what they want and where they feel like it should go. One thing I noticed that was different from the manga, I haven't read it, but I was looking up Moriboshi because on the second season, I noticed that he said he wasn't human when he first revealed himself as Ultra Seven, and they never really focus on that fact. So I was like, well, what does it say on the wiki? And on the wiki page for his manga counterpart, it says that he has a brother that's missing, which is just not in the show at all, and that
Yeah,
they were alien.
I don't, it's been a while since I read one of the mangas. I don't know if I've gotten to that part where they've discussed that yet. I don't know if that's in one of the later issues. I'm only up to issue 9. I know there's 10, 11, 12. They're up to 16 now is out, and I believe in July issue 17 is coming out, or I might be wrong. It might be 16 and 17 coming out. But yeah, that's another release coming up.
Yeah, and then another thing I noticed in season one, which I thought was pretty cool, was Seiji was in the interrogation room when they first found him as Ultraman Ace, and he was looking right at Moriboshi through the mirrored glass, and talking about how people have to hide who they really are and how it's sad. And clearly, I feel like he was talking straight to Moriboshi, like he had some dirt on him or something.
Yeah, what I found odd about that scene was how did he know Moriboshi was right there on that spot of the glass? He only has enhanced arms and legs. Did he have some sort of lenses in there? But
Yeah, I
let's
don't
not
know what
spoil
type of
too
mods he
much
had.
on that.
Yeah, no,
I
I
don't
know,
know.
I know. Spoilers. But let's move on to Pacific Rim: The Black. That's coming out on the 19th. So I guess they give us a little bit of break between
Yeah,
season two.
that's an odd day. What is it? A Tuesday, Wednesday next week? It's a
Yeah.
weird release day I found, but yeah, I watched season one. I was pleasantly surprised. It had a much different vibe than the movies. I felt like it's definitely more anime-ish and definitely dark though. It follows two children that the son and the daughter of um, Jaeger pilots that were separated from their parents, and it takes place about I believe it was 10 years after, and it's pretty much the whole world has fallen. It's pretty much apocalyptic. They failed, and the show's really good. It went in a pretty interesting direction. They discover Jaeger. They're in a little community with other children, and it doesn't go good for the other kids, unfortunately. But I won't spoil too much. And related to that Pacific Rim: The Black, we also had the Pacific Rim Omnibus came this week. It was a Kickstarter that started back in the summer, and it's an omnibus of all the Pacific Rim graphic novels. I only had two of them. I didn't know that they continued doing them, and the last novel that's only included with this release is called, I believe it's called, let me see, I have it right here, Blackout, which I think it might be connected to this Netflix series. Don't take my word for that. I'm pretty sure it's intended to be connected to that and the season 2 release.
All right. I have not watched it yet, and I'm probably gonna end up just watching both seasons at the same time,
Yeah.
or trying to watch season one within this week. I know it's not the longest series, so I'll probably be able to get it done.
Oh yeah, it's super bingeable and it's a good series. It's a great series actually. The action is really good. I don't think like Ultraman there wasn't a single slow episode. It's pretty much from start to finish hits the ground running, nonstop action. Awesome. I mean, Ultraman. It took you so long for you to finally get it. I'm like, you gotta watch it. You gotta watch it. And now you watched it 2 times within the last couple months.
Yeah, Tuesday. Yeah, I think it was like 2 times. It's like once a month. I've watched it. It's a great series.
Yeah, yeah. And if you're a fan of the originals, it's the little references and throwbacks or and Easter eggs that you find along the way are just they're little nice nods. It's good. They did a great job.
And continuing with the actually, we're not gonna skip. Well, if we want to continue, we have some Ultraman releases from Millcreek. They did two that I thought that they did a pretty decent job on. The first one being Ultraseven X, which is almost kind of an exclusive for us because if I'm right, I don't think Japan has gotten a Blu-ray release yet, and we got a 1080i Blu-ray release, which is pretty cool. Originally, it was advertised as a DVD release, and they changed it.
Yeah, there's a little controversy there. The final box art wasn't too accurate there. I had guys arguing with me on Twitter after I retweeted saying, "Oh, is it really DVD?" And the guy's like, "It's a Blu-ray. It says it on Amazon."
Yeah, I'm like,
but I show the picture of you that you circled the DVD label. But
yeah,
if it says a DVD and a Blu-ray at the same time, it's a little confusing.
Yeah, especially since Millcreek has been known to flex the truth a little bit sometimes with their releases. So, I mean, very appreciative of them releasing these things because I don't think anybody else would. But
I mean, up until Millcreek, I was buying I don't know where they were from, Thailand or somewhere, bootlegs. I think they are. I don't know if they're legitimate releases, but I would get them off eBay, building my Ultraman collection, and that was the only way to get them. And who would have thought? I mean, just the last I will say the last decade, it's just been a boom since Godzilla 2014 came out. I mean, the amount of content we were getting. I mean, when we were kids, we would go to the VHS store, the video stores, just scour the aisles for any kind of monster movie. It was such a hard thing to do. I mean, if we found one or two a year, it was amazing. I mean, the Godzilla versus King Ghidorah that we got as kids. It was a bootleg. The Destroy All Monsters was a bootleg. Like, I don't know where Dad got them back in the day, but
I
they were
know
hard
that
movies to find. They were hard movies to find. It wasn't an easy thing to find. It was a struggle. I mean,
I know
if
that
you
King
knew the
Ghidorah we got from I think we got it from Franklin Video, which is just a mom and pa shop.
did we get it from there?
I believe we did.
It was. I don't remember. I could have sworn they weren't legitimate copies, but who knows? I don't even know
Oh
if we
no,
still
I
have
don't
them.
think it was legitimate. I think the only thing that we
No.
had that was legitimate was the Showa era stuff.
Yeah, yeah. The Heisei stuff was not hard to find, not easy to find. It was hard to
No,
find.
it was. And then the Millennium stuff was like eventually you'd get a blue DVD
Yes,
release from Blockbuster or something like
yes.
that.
Yeah, when DVD came around, that's when it slowly started to become a little more available. But I mean, we've been lucky. I mean, who would have thought? I mean, so many people that are into Ultraman just they would have never thought it was all bootlegs. Everyone bootleg Ultraman. They're still doing it. It's still out there. There's still so much unavailable. Super Sentai. It's just fan subs out there for the
Yeah,
older series. I
yeah.
don't know what happened with that. I mean, Millcreek was pumping out the Super Sentai DVD sets for a while, and then it just stopped.
Well, yeah, I think Shout Factory was doing the Super Sentai.
Oh
But
yeah,
I
oh
think
it's Shadow
that's just
Factory.
like as they were going on, I can't imagine that many people were buying them. You know,
Yeah, I guess it,
I think
it's a
Zoo
little.
Ranger would probably be the popular one, and then
Yeah,
you know people that got hooked, and people probably dropped off as they went along. But in the same vein, we got Superior 8 Ultra Brothers also the same day, which I like this two release at a time model that Milk is doing instead of just doing one
yes,
season at a
yeah.
time.
They were doing old and new. Now it's kind of like they're catching up. It was starting at opposite ends of the spectrum, and now it's kind of like all right. It's all kind of they all kind of came out at the same time. Ultraseven X was 2007. Superior 8 was 2008. So they were a year apart. The series and the movie.
Yeah,
Superior 8 takes place, I believe, sometime in the middle of the maybe. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
I think it's Meebus.
Mabius.
I think yeah, it's Meebus.
Meebus.
Meebus. Haven't
Meebus
gotten to it yet.
season. I think it's somewhere in the 30s. I'm I've been tempted to watch the newer seasons of Ultraman, but I just really want to just. I'm one of those collectors where I got to do everything and I got to do it in chronological. I mean, I just went through a whole Star Wars binge this past summer, and it took forever. I did Clone Wars, I did Bad Batch, I did Rebels. I'm all caught up in time for Obi Wan, but
Just
that's
in
neither
time
here nor
for
there
Obi
right
Wan,
now. Yeah.
because you never know who's gonna show up.
No, you never know, and it gives you a big appreciation. That's why I like what I've been doing, going in order. Ultra Q was incredible. Ultraman was awesome. Ultraseven is probably my favorite Ultra. Just not series, but he's my favorite Ultra. I just like his savagery. He goes for the kill. He goes for the kill. Ultraman. He had uh, a moment in his series where he was starting to regret the kills, but Seven never held back, and I really like that series. It got what pulled me back with Seven is it got a pinch repetitive because it was just like alien invasion, alien invasion, alien invasion. They couldn't just ever just be, oh, there's just a monster that showed up. Like, but we'll
Yeah,
discuss that at a later time.
yeah.
But Return of Ultraman, I've been watching that in the middle of it so far. That's probably gonna steal from Ultra Q, my favorite Ultra series right now. The cinematography is spot on, incredible, and the stories are really well done.
Yeah, I've been going through. I just got the Taro Blu-ray, so I'm trying to put it up on Plex, and I'm pretty excited for it. And one of the things that got me excited for it was on the trailer for season two. They seem to make a really big deal that Taro is in the season. In that trailer, I was like, the other two ultras that they threw into the season, they like barely mentioned, but Taro, they were like, we got Taro in this season.
Yeah, and Jack is jacked.
Yeah. Uh,
uh, Yeah.
So we move on to the more release news, and that was the most recent one over from SRS Cinemas, and that's Utena, the horror monster, the horned monstrosity. Um,
Is it Uktena? Uktena? Uktena?
so I was watching the making of, and I believe it's pronounced Utena. Like
The
the
K
K is
silent.
silent. Yeah,
Silent K. Those damn silent letters.
yeah,
It's pretty cool. That one looks like one of the more recent SRS releases that I've been excited about. It's based on Native American myth, and it actually looks pretty good from what I've seen.
yeah. The suit looks awesome.
Yeah,
I really like
yeah.
the suit, and I was watching the hair that the monster has is like the actual suit actor's hair.
Really,
Yeah, and I believe
really,
the
that's
suit
pretty cool.
actor's co-director. It was a
Oh,
father son combo.
oh,
It looked like I haven't watched the movie yet, but it looked like they had so much fun making the movie
oh yeah.
because the dad was a musician and they were just playing a bunch of music on set. It has an entire original soundtrack that they did
Really,
the music for. Uh,
that's
yeah,
that's pretty impressive, actually.
yeah,
I did not know that.
I'm excited to see it.
Wow,
Uh,
wow. And
yeah,
yeah, what's the other SRS release actually? There is another one that SRS has given us, a Dragon Lizard Lord Super Monster.
yeah.
That one should be shipping soon. It looks
Have you ordered that?
interesting. I did order it. It looks like it's gonna fall along the lines of Conga TNT, where the coolest part about it is the box art.
Yeah.
I mean, I love SRS. I love what they're doing. They're helping keep getting the kaiju genre out there. They're keeping it going. I like I said, I try when it comes to this giant monster movies, kaiju. I try to support as many projects, Kickstarter, anything. I try to support it. I want to keep it going.
Yeah.
If we don't, if a project fails, it 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 hurts. It hurts.
Yeah, because
You know.
it goes to the next guy. He goes, he tried to put that, SRS tried to
Yeah.
put out that movie, and he's
Yeah.
just holding them now, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
they're a small company, so
I mean, yeah, SRS, not everything is great, but you know what? They put out some good stuff. They put out good stuff. I mean, you
I
gotta appreciate it. And a lot of this stuff, it's independent things. Some of these projects are done by big names, like what we're going to be discussing later, Howl. But there's they've put out some great ones. And
yeah
War of the God Monsters, that was reused Ultraman footage. That was a good one.
yeah I think their import stuff is
Yes,
obviously of much higher quality than their domestic releases,
100%.
but
Buddha.
a lot
Yeah.
of their domestic releases have a lot of heart in it.
Oh no, definitely, definitely.
That
Yes,
that's the that that's what I like to see. Even
yes.
Conga wasn't the greatest. The the
Some of
jokes
these
were
movies,
solid
yes,
in that
yes.
movie.
You need to know what you're going into. You can't go in to all these movies, just this genre in general. You can't go into all of them and expecting them to be film masterpieces. Some of them are gonna be cheesy. Some of them are gonna be silly. And you know what? You gotta enjoy it sometimes. Everyone nowadays looks for something to hate about almost every movie, every TV show. Nobody wants to sit down and enjoy it. They want to sit down, critique it, and say what's bad about it.
Yeah, and
Nobody wants to look at the good anymore. And I try to do that.
no, yeah, definitely, and that's kind of why we started this podcast because one of the main things is just being on Twitter and just seeing people just constantly complain about stuff, and I'm like, they're complaining about these movies coming out, and I'm like, just look at like what people are putting out and what they're doing. There's so many. If you don't like what Godzilla's doing, you know that's your own personal opinion. But I'm like,
If
then just support a different project. You don't have to
if
watch
you
Godzilla movies. Go watch the SRS release. Go watch a
yeah
Y3 release.
yes exactly.
Arrow's
If
putting out great stuff.
oh Arrow's incredible. That's speaking of Arrow. It's another release actually coming in July. It's not necessarily a new release, but it's a new I guess it's not even a format. It's a special edition release, we'll call it. The Tremors Steelbook from Zavi. It's an exclusive to Zavi. The price is kind of steep. It's $54.99 for a Steelbook. And
Yeah.
this release, they did it 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago now. It might have even been 2019 with that awesome Matt Frank art on it. The Steelbook is different, has different art. I don't know who the artist is, but it looks extremely nice. But my concern is I'm a collector. I like to have the full series of everything. So is Arrow going to be releasing two, three, four, five, six, seven? I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
I think the question is where do you draw the line with that
Yes.
series? Like, what do you consider canon in
I
that
think the whole
series?
the Burt Gummers in every single one.
I know, but uh, in my opinion, I would do the first four and maybe throw in the TV series and the Jamie Kennedy ones. You can take it or leave it. The one thing with Africa wasn't that bad. It was
I
okay.
I didn't see the recent ones. I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen five, six, or seven.
The
I saw the first four.
I saw five. Five was okay. It was if I saw it on the Sci-Fi Channel, I'd stay and watch it. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
it
The new
wasn't amazing, but it was okay.
yes. I mean, one and two were masterpieces. Three was great too.
Yeah. It looks like we got just a few more release news over here in the movie realm, and that is Prehysteria 2, 1994 is coming out.
Yeah, it came out in 1994. I remember getting these at Blockbuster back in the day. I believe there's a trilogy. They were kids movies, but it's pretty cool. It sort of falls into our genre a little. It's about a group of small dinosaurs. I believe it's five. There's a pterodactyl, a triceratops, T-Rex, of course. And I forget what the rest are, but they're all named after famous singers. We got Elvis, Paula, Jagger, Hammer, and Madonna. And it was like a little kiddie movie. The dinosaurs, mini dinosaurs, probably like I don't know, like a foot tall. Like you got a 1 foot tall T Rex walking around. And it was like a family movie. It was a kids movie, but
Was
they were
that
cool.
claymation
Were they claymation?
or did
I think they might have. I don't think they were. Let me. I'm not.
I vaguely
I'm not
remember the
quite
movie.
sure what the effects were.
All right, and then we have. Do you want to move on to the next one, or do you want to just check to see if it's claymation or whatever?
I'm just gonna take. And you know, the release of Prehysteria 2 is on Blu-ray. They're obviously going to do the third one because the first one is also out on Blu-ray. It's been out on Blu-ray for about 2 years now. I was surprised. I didn't even know it was out on Blu-ray. Honestly, I was browsing some pre-orders and I saw it come up and I was like, "Whoa, this movie!" I'm like, I remember this as a kid. You know what? They were mini animatronics actually.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I believe they were animatronics puppets.
I mean, that was there. That was during that '90s dinosaur
Yes.
Jurassic
Yeah.
Park
Yep.
craze, where anything dinosaur is a good idea.
Yeah. No, and you know, I saw somebody recently say on Twitter that Jurassic Park has monopolized the dinosaur movie almost, and it's pretty much Jurassic Park and straight to DVD slash sci-fi originals. And
Yeah.
everyone's like, "Oh, I'm glad to see the Jurassic franchise ending, quote unquote
Yeah.
ending." Who
Well,
knows? They
apparently
don't end
that's the
anything
reason
nowadays.
why there was no dinosaurs on Skull Island, was because they didn't want to
Yes.
deal with Jurassic Park.
Why? It seems like a cowardly thing to
I
do.
guess Spielberg owns CG dinosaurs. And then this is the last release we're going to talk about, and that is the Tentacles Blu-ray release. It's actually a re-release of
Yes.
the 1977 horror movie. I actually owned the previous release that was a two-pack
Yes. With
with
Reptilicus.
Reptilicus.
Yes.
And then in Spain, it did have it and Reptilicus were actually released separately.
Yes.
But
This is the first solo release with
yeah,
pretty sweet slipcover.
yeah, no, it looks nice.
It's about a giant octopus that it's pretty much in the vein of Jaws, a little more horror-ish.
Yeah, Yeah, I'd say it's very in line with like the Jaws craze.
Yeah.
Um, very low budget. I was just poking around it a little bit when I was putting it on Plex, and I was like, ooh, I'm like I'm gonna watch this one during the summer.
Def- it's definitely gonna have some cheese on it. Definitely some cheese there.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But speaking of Jaws, though, we also have it working on the Meg too. So
Uh
we got to keep an eye out for some news on that coming along
the
soon.
the first one was so ridiculous that I just can't wait for the second one.
It was so ridiculously good, though. That's the thing. Like I didn't expect it. It was ridiculous, but it was just so good.
I was expecting just a shark movie, and it was going to
Yes.
be a big shark. No, they went like Fast and the Furious with ridiculousness of like he's in a mini water spaceship thing, and he's like cutting it up with that, and I think he like
It
stabs it with like with his like bare hands at the end or something like that.
it was one of the most enjoyable movie experiences.
No,
Though.
yeah, we went to go to the theaters for that, and that was just
Yes.
like I just had a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of want to. It's like I've said since I saw that movie, I want to get into the books, but I just have so little time to do anything. Honestly, it's
Yeah, to add more
uh,
books or more comics on to read,
yes, yeah. I
it's
have a
tight.
backlog of comics with a backlog of things that I'm trying to binge. The comics are
Yeah,
building up now because
I'm
I went through a little. We went through a little slow time, but moving on to the comics actually, since we're talking about it, we got the Godzilla vs. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series is in full swing. I have my first issue here. It's the IDW variant. I pre-ordered two other variants for the first issue. They still haven't got here yet. I haven't opened the IDW yet because it's not in a resealable package, and I'm considering sending it out to get graded. But we also have that out. Issue two's coming next month on the 27th. Issue 3 is May 25th. Issue 4 is June 22nd. And issue 5, I'm assuming it's going to be sometime in July. There hasn't been an official street date for that one yet.
I'm thinking they
Based off
haven't
this.
released. I'm sorry.
Uh,
I was gonna say I'm thinking that it's still TBD because sometimes these miniseries hit delays or something.
yeah. Who knows? Because all these look like they're coming out around like the 20th, except for this month's.
Yeah,
But all these future ones are coming out like end of month, like 27th, 25th, 22nd. So I would look expected sometime in the last 2 weeks of July.
yeah, yeah.
And
If yeah, I would say if not very early August.
and also the same day as issue 3 for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers vs. Godzilla is going to be the Godzilla Rivals vs. Gigan one shot comic. All the other one shots that they've done have been awesome. Dark stories, good stories. I mean, they got to do more of these one shots, and I hope they keep rolling with them. We went through a little drought of Godzilla comics for a little while. I mean, Rulers of Earth was. I would love them to make an anime series of that.
That
That's
would be amazing.
hands down. I recently did a reread of Rulers of Earth, and I was like, oh, this was so good. I I had not actually finished it the first time around. I had read it. I probably got about like 75% through it, and then I had was going through a move, and it just kind of like the comics. I had to stop the pre-orders from shipping, change of address, and I just kind of stopped. And boy, oh boy, this second read with the complete finish was awesome. I was doing the Marvel Godzilla comics too. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
It's nice to have Godzilla comics. IDW did a recent Godzilla series back in the spring last year. It was Godzilla Gods and Monsters, I believe. I believe that's what it was called. It was a little 5 comic arc. It seems like the new um, way comics are being done now because Ultraman was done the same way. They did the first Ultraman Marvel series was 5 issues. They took a couple month break. Then they did the second series, couple month break. Now the third series is supposed to be Ultraseven, and I could have sworn it should have been out by now. It's been complete radio silence on it. There has not been a word. I mean, I'm checking constantly for pre-orders for it, and I do not see it anywhere. I'm hoping that Marvel did not can this series because they were doing a great job with it. The one thing that I did miss on the second go around with the Ultraman comics that Marvel did was earlier on in the first arc that they did. I guess it was the Trials of Ultraman, I think was the first round. They did a little Ultra Q mini comic inside the Ultraman comic. I would have liked to see that story continued, but they did not do that. But we got to keep an eye out for Ultraseven because I think it's going to pop up sometime soon on our radar. I hope.
No, definitely. I feel like the anime is helping. I think it's growing more interest,
Yes.
and people are going to want to see where these characters come from and want to see more stories with them. I definitely think even with Millcreek giving more exposure, making it. What's great with Millcreek releases versus like smaller company ones is that they do end up in Walmart bargain bins and stuff like that. So same thing with the Mothra. You still see Mothra in Walmart if you go there.
Yes.
Even
some of the SRS releases end up at the stores. Like
yeah, they do.
Yes.
And people will pick them up and they'll get exposed to it and they'll get to see like, oh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. No. It's really cool that SRS is a gateway for that too. Millcreek, SRS, they're doing great work. The two of them. I gotta give them a hand for that.
And transition into some other news that might actually deal with physical releases being in stores. In a weird turn of events, Sony, who owns Funimation, also had recently bought Crunchyroll. So everyone thought that, okay, so Crunchyroll is going to get absorbed by Funimation. They'll get the rights to the same animes, and then maybe they'll do more dubs or whatever. Sony decided to go with the Crunchyroll brand and close shop on Funimation. Now, Funimation didn't have that many anime that were kaiju related. The only one is the SSSS series or the Gridman anime series. Those
Which
two,
I loved.
yeah,
Oh, so good.
Those two are getting physical releases. I think the next one's season 2 is coming out in June.
It's the SSS Dyna Xenon, I believe it's pronounced. Xenon.
Yeah.
I started watching it. I got 3 episodes in on it. It's just I haven't been able to squeeze it into my schedule, but I think I'm gonna hold out for that release. I believe it's June, you said, right?
Yeah, I believe it's June. The other thing that they own is the Shin Godzilla dub, the English dub and subtitle track. I believe that's also Funimation. So
Pretty big.
Funimation was big on their streaming service, but they also, I think, basically always had an at-home release. So if you wanted to own it physical, you could. And Crunchyroll, I think, has released one anime series for physical release. I think one season of one series had a physical release.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's a little scary.
I'm hoping that doesn't hurt Shin Ultraman. I'm wondering if Shin Ultraman is gonna fall under. I'm not sure if it's the same studio. I know it's the same director.
Yeah, I know it's the same director.
Shin Kamen Rider.
I
also is in the works, I believe.
I think a lot of this has to do with what type of contracts they had set up ahead of time.
Yeah.
But, if the contract states that something needs a physical release, maybe Crunchyroll just prints off 1,000 copies and calls it a day. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It could be a situation where we're getting very limited releases, or it's, hey, sign up for our streaming service. So I think it's really important if you want the series and you want Shin Godzilla, I would buy them now.
Yeah.
Because who knows if they're going to get a reprint. Like, I think stuff like Dragon Ball Z is probably going to be fine, because...
It's Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, to turn down that type of merchandise sale and stuff like that, and just people just buying the big real orange bricks would be stupid. But the smaller series, I'd be afraid that it's just going to become a streaming-only thing. So I think people have to keep an eye out for that and be vocal about wanting to get those physical copies if that's your jam.
Yeah, physical's important. That's why everyone's like, why do you have all these Blu-rays and DVDs? What are you gonna do with them all? And I'm
Well,
like, these one day they're being printed, and the next day they're not, and one day they're on the streaming service, and the next day they're not. So at
yeah,
least I know I always have it.
yeah, that's a big one. I mean, right now, like half of the Showa era, anything that wasn't Godzilla is locked behind Criterion right now.
Ugh,
They're never gonna release those physically. They're probably just gonna keep
why?
renewing the rights.
Why? It's ridiculous.
And the whole thing with
It's
Criterion is that they're known for their
it's a
physical releases. Like it doesn't make any sense.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
I gotta say, probably the most requested one from them is probably Warlord Gargantuous.
yes, it's ridiculous, and that's a extremely popular movie. Just not even within just like the kaiju genre, the monster genre.
Just in
There's
general.
fans of that in general. The people love that movie.
Ask
Not
Brad Pitt about Warlord
yes,
Gargantuous.
yeah. Was it Brad Pitt or is it DiCaprio? It's one of them. One of
Pitt,
them
it's
is
Pitt. It's
yeah,
Pitt.
it's Pitt.
And
Yeah,
Scorsese loved it too.
yeah, yeah. Nick Cage loves some kaiju movies. We got some
Oh.
Cage Rage.
Yeah. And
Oh, I would love to see him in a MonsterVerse movie. Oh,
that would be amazing. Honestly, make him a mad scientist.
yeah.
Make him Doctor Who and give us Mechanicon. Could you
Oh
imagine?
my god, that would be perfect. That would be perfect. No,
Yeah.
and not that Doctor Who, everyone. If you have never seen King Kong Escapes, you should watch it. It's a completely different Doctor Who.
Yeah. Should we move over onto the main review now?
Yeah, I just want to two quick more things before we move on. It's a little separate. It's not movies. It's not comics. It's two toy releases. There's a small company called Bid Toys, and they're known for. I don't know if you want to necessarily call them figures. They kind of call them statues. They released the Mario Ultraman. They did a Bowser cross with Godzilla figure, and they did a Mecha Godzilla Bowser figure, which is probably one of my favorites. They also did a Burning Godzilla Bowser, which is awesome. But a couple of weeks ago, they dropped a Mecha Godzilla Unit 1 from Evangelion Bowser, and the paint job looked incredible, and it glows in the dark.
Ooh.
And yesterday they teased their next release. It's hard to tell. It's on my list of to watches, but it looks like it's going to be a Kamen Rider Mario, and it looks like it comes with a Goomba and a blooper, the squid. I'm not sure what characters they are from Kamen Rider, but they're definitely Kamen Rider enemies. From the back, all you could see is the helmet is a Yoshi head, it looks like. And he's got his red cape. Like I said, I'm not too familiar with Kamen Rider yet. They haven't given the full view. They're supposed to be dropping what the figure actually looks like on the 15th. Today's the 14th while we're recording this, so
it's
it's
very
probably
similar.
it's most likely that a picture of this figure could be appearing any time now because it's right now it's the 15th over in China, so
Yeah.
it could any moment it could be showing up. And if you want to check out some of the merchandise and figures they've made, you could go to bidtoys.store. Now, it's coming from China, and when you order these figures, you got to keep in mind these are all hand painted. It's a very small group of people working on it, but the details are very well executed. You're gonna order this, and you're gonna forget you ordered it. It's gonna take it. They take a good long while to ship these things, but I promise you'll get them. I've ordered 3 waves of figures from them, and they've all come, and they all look great. So if you're interested, give them a follow, Bid Toys. And right now the Ava Bowser is sold out, and I was debating that one a while, and I didn't pull the trigger on it. But we'll see what this Kamen Rider looks like. I'm not a big Kamen Rider fan yet, but you never know.
Yeah. It looks like it's the season 1 Kamen Rider that
Yeah.
they're mimicking the look of.
Yes. Yeah, that's that seems to be the look. I right off the bat when my buddy sent me the picture because I was checking every day when they first teased the photo shoot for it. I'm like, oh, what is that gonna be? And then when I saw the close up, I was like, oh, it's a Kamen Rider. But yeah, I think that covers it for our releases and everything coming out next month, the next couple of months. I mean, we have some more to cover later on, but we'll get to that at a later date.
Yeah, when it comes a little bit closer to release date.
Yeah, yeah, totally. So I think it's time to move on to our main event here.
Yeah, finally, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we are going to be reviewing Howl from Beyond the Fog. There's a really cool little Kickstarter film. Uh, it started off with just them making off a very, very small puppet and a very small armature. And they shot some test footage and showed it off at a convention just to kind of drum up excitement. And then it moved on to doing the full movie and doing the Kickstarter.
Yeah, I mean, I was really surprised when I heard it was going to be all puppets too. This movie is all puppets, and it's actually really well done. I mean, it reminds me of almost not quite, but Team America kind of ish done, or people would say the Thunderbirds back in the day. The way
Yeah,
it's done, they're not quite marionettes. They're
no, they're
definitely not
not.
marionette puppets.
They're actually
But
they're giant silicone puppets, so they're able to control the arm movements and things like that, and the head tilts. And it made it look a little bit more natural in the movement.
yes.
The faces, they're puppets. You can only do so much with the faces.
Yeah, the faces were a little creepy, but it
Yeah,
wasn't distracting. The movie was great.
yeah,
It was good. It was good.
yeah. I mean, the only people that really got faces in the movie were the bad guys,
Yeah,
because the main characters both had their faces almost obscured. E.G. just had his hair over his face, and
Takiri.
yeah, Takiri. I'm
She
sorry.
just had a blindfold.
Yeah. Um, One thing that was really cool with the behind the scenes was I knew that Nebula, which is the monster, looked absolutely fantastic, but I didn't realize how big these puppets were.
Oh, they're big.
Yeah, I thought that they were little. Like I thought the people were going to be little puppets because that's how it looks in the movie. But the puppets were about like almost human sized. They were using for this movie.
Wow. Wow. I actually didn't know they were that big. I knew the nebula itself was a huge puppet. I didn't realize the people were that big.
Yeah, yeah, the people were pretty big.
Mm.
Maybe they were like 3 foot or 4 foot, but
Hey, that's still big.
they were
It's
big. In the movie they come across as very small. Maybe
yes,
that's
they
because
almost
they're
come across like little hand puppets
yes, they
almost.
do.
Yes.
But in watching the filming, I was like, wow, these things are actually really big, and the sets were a decent size, especially for the low budget of the movie.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. The Kickstarter was mainly I don't even think the Kickstarter was to fund the movie. I think it was just to fund the the puppet for Nebula, the
Yeah,
monster itself.
because
It was strictly just the monster.
yeah, the Kickstarter didn't raise a whole lot of money. It was only like I think it was like 11 grand when you did the conversion.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so it's uh
It's still an $11,000 puppet.
yeah, and they had to do uh uh no, it was actually a suit.
Oh, sweet.
It's mostly a puppet though, but for the walking scenes they actually had so that somebody could go in and actually walk with it, but then the whole head is a complete puppet.
Yeah.
It was really awesome to see it get built. So I guess we'll go over the plot and then give our thoughts.
Yeah, yeah, we'll go with the plot. Yeah.
All right. So it first starts off with our protagonist Eg, and he's on a train ride into Kyushu, which is one of I think it's like the second or third largest island in Japan.
Yes, yeah,
And
it's definitely an island in Japan, but the hometown is a little tiny town though. It's not Kyushu's not like a city. They don't give a specific
yeah,
name
yeah,
to the town or anything. It's a
yeah. No,
little
they
lake
don't.
town. I tried to actually look on a map, and I felt like I didn't see a lake from
Anywhere on
Google
the island.
Maps.
Anywhere
I
on the
saw
island.
little they had little bays and stuff, but it must have been a really small lake.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't the biggest lake in the movie. It looked like the Nebula fit in the lake, and there was
Like
a
as an
small
island.
walking
Yeah,
area. Yeah.
yeah.
Um.
Anyway,
So
back to the plot. Back to the
anyway,
plot.
he's taking the train ride in, and he's telling the audience that he's going to go visit his mother for the first time because his twin brother had just died.
Who he
They
had
don't.
never, by the way.
Yeah. Who we never
He
meet.
never met his brother, and he
Never met his
was
mom.
separated from his mother at birth.
Yeah. They
For some
don't give
reason.
any
They don't
explanation.
go too into detail about that. Yeah, it's a little
a,
weird.
a lot of the family dynamic in this movie is implied, or they give
Yes.
little hints.
The implication.
Yeah. Um, Gets into the house, and he's like the new head of the house, kind of, but it's his mom who's really running everything. Um, he like, it's so funny because like Takira is supposed to be like hidden, and he like, it's only a half-hour long movie, but he like instantly finds her in her little
Yeah.
in her room.
The Japanese houses from like back in the day, they had like paper doors that just slid.
Yeah.
How are you hiding a person? It takes place in 1909, this movie. So there's no technology really. The guns are like one-shot
Muskets.
guns that
Yeah.
are used in this movie. They're using basically fireworks and cannons to battle this monster eventually. But yeah, he finds his blind cousin who his mother's been hiding in secret. She's supposed to be dead,
Yeah.
so she's supposed to be kept a secret. What happened was is her mother blinded her when she was a child, then her mother committed suicide. I don't know how the mother blinded her. They don't really explain it.
So
Um, there's a scene later on in the movie that I
yeah.
think someone explains it.
Yeah, I
But
was gonna go over that when we got there because it's not very
okay,
well explained, and you kind of have to
explain
use
yourself.
some of the context clues. Very strange the way they, but it's all to build up to the mystery of what's going on in this
Yeah.
town.
My assumption is that E.G. was sent away because the mother had to watch the Kiri, and she didn't want to have to watch three kids, so she sent the son away. That's my sort of assumption here, but
Yes, that actually does make perfect sense. I actually didn't catch on to that, but that makes perfect sense. Even on two watches, you have to kind of put pieces together to understand the whole full family dynamic of this movie. Um, anyway, he goes to sleep that night after having a brief conversation with her, and he kind of hears her moving at night. So he follows her to the lake where she is just chilling with Nebula.
she's singing him a song. That's how he heard her. Is she was humming her way to the lake, and she's sort of singing Nebula lullaby, kind of.
Yeah. So he kind of just they don't explain whether he leaves or if he passes out or what exactly happens. It just cuts to the next morning.
Yeah, he wakes up and he hears his mom arguing with a couple of men who are trying to convince her to sell her house. And I believe she kind of owns
The lake.
the lake almost. Her mother,
Yes.
the mother owns the lake. It's her family's worship grounds, is I believe what she referred to it as.
Yes.
So he kind of does nothing about that. They're basically saying there's no more head of house because the son died, but they're kind of disregarding his existence, or they don't know he exists yet because he just showed up there the day before.
Yeah.
So after he overhears that argument, he eats his breakfast, and then he confronts the Kiri about Nebula, saying that he followed her the night before, and he wanted to know why he's going to go see her, why she goes to see him and sing to him. So she offers to take him to meet Nebula. So that night, he follows her to the lake, and he doesn't see Nebula necessarily. She covers his eyes and has him reach out and touch Nebula on the nose, give him a little boop. And by the time she removes her hands, Nebula has disappeared back into the fog.
But the
And
bad guy
while
saw him.
yes,
Bum, bum, bum.
the bad guy was staking out the house for some reason, and he discovered the existence of Takiri, the existence of Nebula, who had in the past attacked. The movie actually opens with this. We missed this part. The movie opens with Nebula attacking two men on a bridge, and then it skips years ahead. So Nebula was sort of like an urban legend for the little village there.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe you can take it from here if you want.
Yeah, so bad guy sees it, they go back, and the bad guys are all talking with each other about what to do. They seem to know about Takiri and who she was and how she's not supposed to be alive. And they kind of basically use that as like, okay, well, we're going to stake out the area and ambush these guys next time we see them. So it cuts to the next day. They're in the house. Ichi's going to go talk with Takira again. And as they're about to leave, they ambush them in the house. And I'm assuming they tie them up and bring them to the lake. They don't show exactly what
They
the
didn't really
restraint
seem like they were
is.
tied up. They had guns. The men had guns. So I think they were kind of just taken to the lake.
They did, but she couldn't swim. So I'm just assuming that she was bound somehow.
Yeah.
Because she was unable to swim. But anyway, they're bringing
back in the day, not a lot of people swam in the 1900s. I mean, they used to think people were witches if you could swim.
Yeah. But they bring him to the lake, and as they're going there, he's kind of explaining like why they need this water for the dam, and he's blaming the family, and he's saying how she was supposed to be dead, and how they used to sacrifice women by throwing them into the lake for the monster to eat. And he does the same exact thing with Takiri. And that's when we enter this scene that kind of explains a lot of the backstory of why she's supposed to be dead and what happened with her mother and why she has this relationship with Nebula. From the way I interpreted it was the mother, Takiri's mother, kind of just had Takiri like at a wedlock, and she had these really weird eyes, and she saw weirdly. She didn't see like normal people, almost like watercolors or shadows or something, and it sounded like because the
she had some type of blindness or partial.
So yeah, but even when the developers were bringing her to the lake, he called her the monster girl.
Yeah.
And which is what the mother referred to her as when she first showed up, saying, "Oh, she has those monster eyes."
Yes.
So I'm assuming there's something wrong with her eyes, and what I'm assuming was they sent the mother to go sacrifice her at the lake.
Yes, I thought the same thing. I thought she might have got it from lack of oxygen. It did some sort of damage to her eyes to make them even worse and completely blind. That's sort of the vibe that I got.
Yeah, I actually interpreted it a little different. I thought that the mother purposely blinded her to get rid of her eyes.
Oh.
I thought she plucked her eyes out because she said, "Mom, my eyes hurt."
Oh.
And that's why she's like, "Oh, because nobody's gonna know it's her because she doesn't have eyes." It's a very open to interpretation movie.
Yes.
I feel like.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They don't really explain a lot.
Yes.
And they don't they don't really show you either because the sequence is a watercolor.
Yes.
From there, Nebula gets really angry that she got thrown into the lake.
Because that's his BFF right there.
Yeah. So he picks her up with his mouth, brings her back to land, and just starts going after these bad guys.
Yeah, they try to shoot him, and that kind of just pisses him off. And they take off running into town, and he goes right after them. And in his path of destruction, he knocks over some paper lanterns, which are lit with flame, and it causes a fire. And besides Nebula just smashing through the village, now you got a burning village too. And he's chasing these guys through the village. Everyone's going nuts, evacuating, screaming, guys ringing bells on the towers. That guy actually survived, I think.
No, the tail hit him.
Oh yes, the tail did hit him.
It was actually a little funny. It was a little funny because it looked like he was even like, "Oh, I made it," and then like right before the cut, you just see the tail swing and just demolish his tower.
Yeah, so he chases these guys through the town, and Yaji and Takiri follow to try to slow him down or stop him from going on this rampage and killing everybody. And by the time they get to the town, they discover Ichi's mother, and their house has been destroyed. Ichi's mother basically apologizes to Takiri and tells her that she could live free with Ichi now, go do whatever you want, leave the town, don't stay there, go with him, live your life. And then it kind of goes to our epic conclusion, our final battle. I don't know if you want to take over for that one.
Yeah, so Nicholas rampaging through the city, and then these fireworks start going off and kind of distracts him. He starts going towards it, and the whole time Iji and Takari are just like running after him.
Yeah, like these two little people are gonna start this giant monster, like a dog on a leash.
Yeah. So they finally get up to where he is. He's at where a bridge is, and the bad guys are on a bridge. The developers. For a second, it looked like Takari was kind of soothing him, getting him to calm down, and they shoot him right in the temple with a cannon. And actually knocks him over, which is I was actually very surprised. I thought he was gonna like no sell it and just turn and demolish him, but it actually did do some pretty decent
I actually thought it was like dead for a minute there. I was like, oh man, is this thing gonna get killed? Is Nebula dead?
I mean, he did hit him in the temple, which, I mean, at least on people is the softest spot on the skull. So maybe for monsters too, like that's a weak point.
Yeah.
But he gets up and just starts going towards the bridge. They're firing, and now they're just not doing anything to him. He's angry. He's pissed. All this fog is around him, and he sucks in all the fog and shoots it out at them, and just the bridge is just kind of just half of it is missing. It's an arch bridge, so the middle arch is missing.
Yeah.
The main developer was left alive, and he's yelling at him, and then Nebula just goes down and just eats him.
Flushes them and destroys what's left of the bridge.
Yeah, and then that's basically the ending of the film. Nebula walks off into the distance. E.G. asks, where is he going? Kari just says he's going home.
Yeah.
He goes, what about us?
Live free.
Yeah. What about us? And she, Takari just goes, we're going to go live our lives too. And that's the end of the movie. Roll credits.
Yeah. And it was a good movie. Short film. Like I said, they leave a lot open to interpretation. It seems like the mother was apologizing just for at the end for Takari's abuse as a child, and I feel like not like I said, the Nebula was almost an urban legend, so I'm not sure if Takiri was telling the Ichi's mother about her encounters with Nebula, and she just thought she was nuts, so she just kind of put her as a little crazy girl whose mother tried to kill her, is the way I sort of interpreted it. Like, she's not supposed to exist in the first place because she had screwed up eyes. Now
Yeah.
she's crazy because her mother almost killed her, and her mother killed herself. So she's like, this girl doesn't know what she's talking about. She thinks there's a giant lizard living in our lake over here.
Yeah. Um. So I mean, I thought that the movie was shot great. It looked
Oh, it's
wonderful.
phenomenal. The shots that they pull off, some of the shots of Nebula that they pull off, the angles, just incredible. They were able to fit so many little sets in, little details, these great little shots. They did fantastic.
Yeah. It was really a just a movie that like you wouldn't see an American film like this. It's
No, no.
so artful. The music was great on it, like the soundtrack. I was very happy with just the way that everything looked on it. As far as the the plot, yeah, it's a half hour movie, so they had to fit a lot into that movie. There wasn't a lot of my one gripe with the movie. This is kind of what I was gonna say. They had to fit a lot of story in there, and whoever did the subtrack for this movie, sometimes they'd put like 3 sentences up at the same time, and they'd be gone in like 2 seconds. I would a couple times when they were getting really thick into plot, I would have to pause to read the subtitles, and it wasn't like there wasn't time because they had to get to the next line. It was just the title wasn't up there long enough. That's gonna be my one gripe with the movie. I don't know if that's an SRS thing. I don't know if it's like that on the sub version. I'm imagining it's like that on all the versions. Whoever did the sub track, I think they just needed to give it a little bit more time on it.
Yeah, I don't know what they could have done if they should have spread it out more and put shorter sentences up on the screen quicker.
I don't think it was that because I felt like sometimes you'd flash a line real quick and then there would be no subtitles displayed. So I was just like, oh, they're still talking, but there's no subtitle. It was probably in that previous subtitle and they're just not going over it. I'm like they had like an extra like 3 seconds for the subtitle to be up that I could have finished reading.
Like you know what might have even worked well for this movie, especially since it was puppets. A dub, a
They
dub.
they could have done a dub.
I mean, it's a lot of money to, I guess, to get more voice actors, but it was. I think it was an extremely dubbable movie.
Oh yeah, because there's no lip flaps and there's only 5 characters in the whole movie, really.
Yeah, yeah. Not a lot of. No, there's not a ton of talking either.
No.
I mean, we're talking. What's the runtime? Is it like 24 to 34 minutes? What was it? 34
I
minutes?
think it's
38 minutes?
Yeah, I think 38 or something like that. Now, I don't really want to get into that much more. That's basically it.
No, there's nothing. There's you know what? There's not really anything negative. I mean, you can't even blame the subtitles as a negative,
No,
really.
no, 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 no. That's whoever released it. That's their fault. Want to say this directorial debut of special effects legend Daisuke Sato, and I'm just gonna read off some of the movies that he's done special effects on, and it's he did Ultraman Mebius and the Ultra Brothers, Ultraman Max, The Great Yokai War, Gamera the Brave, Godzilla Final Wars, Grand Cesar, which was a Toho Tokusatsu show that looks really awesome. If you ever look up fake bag-in footage on YouTube, that's the show that they took it from. And then GMK, which is probably like the biggest
Top tier.
Yeah,
The one of the most popular Millennium Godzilla movies.
It's
Probably
not
the
one of-
popular
I'd say probably one of the most popular
in general.
But yeah,
Yeah.
besides the original,
Across
I'd say
all eras, yeah.
yeah. So and all those movies look great. I love the GMK Godzilla. I think that look just awesome.
Oh no, yeah. I still have that exclusive one from Eternal Con in the bag. I'm always like, do I open it and just display it? Am I gonna sell it? I don't think I'm gonna sell it. Nobody had they only made 10 of them, and it looks. I mean, not 10 of them, 100 of them, and they look great.
Yeah. So he shot this movie, and the just the whole team around it looked like it was like a real passion project.
Yeah, yeah. Because he also did the Foghorn a couple of years earlier, which is sort of like the precursor to this. The Foghorn is a book from, I believe it's the 50s. It's not quite the same story. It's about a monster in the fog, but it's a big inspiration. They say it's inspiration for this. It was an inspiration for I'm trying to blank now. Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, is that it? No.
Could be. Very similar looking monster.
Yes. But it's a old novel, and it's been an inspiration for a lot of movies. And they did a little project like years before as a little precursor to this. And yeah, it's definitely a big inspiration for this movie. And the other person involved with this movie is, I don't want to butcher this name, Kizo Murashi, I want to say. Murashi.
Yes.
He's the sculptor of Nebula. He also has quite the resume. He worked on the Mothra 1961 design for Mothra. He worked on King Kong and Godzilla for King Kong vs. Godzilla in 1962. He helped make Maguma for Gorith, the Matango monsters from Matango, the Gora, Godzilla, and Ghidorah in the Ghidorah three-headed monster. He did Frankenstein and Baragon for Frankenstein Conquers the World, Varan, Gamera, Showa Gamera, Daimajin, Gauss, Yangre, Virus, Titanosaurus, the Pecking Man for the Mighty Pecking Man. What? He's all over the place, all over all these different studios. He is massive in this, and he has always been a modeler, sculptor, and he's never gotten behind the camera. But next year, as long hopefully it's not delayed, there's a movie coming out, Brush of God. It's another short film, and he's going to be making his directorial debut. And I believe Daisuke Sato is also involved with that as well.
Yeah.
So that's going to be another one to look forward to. I'm sure SRS is going to try to get their hands on giving us a physical release of that here in the States.
Yeah, I really hope they do. So it looks like they flip-flop roles. So on that film, Daisuke Sato is going to be the cinematographer, whereas on the previous film, Kaizo was a cinematographer.
Yes. Yep.
So,
I believe the original. I think one of them picked up somebody. There was somebody else involved with this film, but they passed away. I'm not 100% sure on the details for Brush of the God yet, but it looks like the monster for that is going to be similar to Orochi, I believe is how you pronounce it.
yeah.
The 8-headed dragon. It looks like that's what's going to be. And I've seen some of the early test footage, and it looks really nice. So I'm excited for that. It's going to be another spectacle like this.
Yeah,
that's
no,
for sure.
I'm excited for that. Hopefully it does get released relatively soon. It's just a movie that got impacted by a pandemic. So
yeah, I mean, it's all over the board, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think this was supposed to originally come out, 2021. So bit of a delay, but Japan's been getting hit hard with waves, so it's understandable.
No, 100%.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I just think it's definitely worth watching. And if you guys are interested in watching this movie, it is available on SRS Cinema. They did a second run of the Blu-ray because the first one did so well. And it's also available on DVD through SRS Cinema. And if you're not into buying physical media, you can get it, I believe, on Tubi TV and on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. Yep. And I mean, this is one of those SRS releases that's also now sort of upgraded to mass release also. So you could even find this movie at your Best Buy. You could find it on Amazon. I'm not sure if Walmart carries Walmart does carry this actually. Yeah, Walmart carries it. You can find it on Amazon also, but I think it's best to buy it from SRS since they're the ones that brought it to the States. And if we want to keep movies like this coming here, I think it's best to support the company that's doing it. And I think SRS should be your go-to for purchasing this.
Yeah, and plus, at least for me, they're also located in New York. We're in New York, so the shipping is usually pretty good. I think.
Yeah, they're pretty good. For me, I think it's just me.
Because you're on the complete opposite side of the state.
It's not SRS's fault. It's the United States Postal Service fault. But
yeah.
I've had only twice. I've had weird cases where my order just sits at a postal facility here. But I've had that happen with other packages. But their shipping's great, and SRS, they've slowed down a little with the extra goodies. Early on, they used to give you like tons of weird extra things with your DVDs. You'd get like spider rings and like weird knickknacks and stuff. They still give you usually they'll throw in a poster. Yeah. Not all the time. Usually for pre-orders, they'll throw in a poster.
Yeah, it depends on how well. Yeah. Because I recently bought Zillafoot, and I got the poster for that. I was pretty surprised.
Wow. Yeah. It's been out in a while. Yeah. So they'll usually send you a poster, and they'll also give you a little. Usually it's like a two-sided, almost like advertisement card that you could stick into the Blu-ray case also. That's like almost like a mini card poster or a card. So they give you a couple little knickknacks. I guess to save on shipping costs too for the buyers. They wanted to reduce throwing in some heavier stuff like physical things. So paper is good. It's light. It's easy to ship. So yeah, the posters are nice. Everyone loves the posters from them, and they get some really nice artists for their cover art. So SRS.
Yeah, I mean, even when it's not Matt Frank, it's really good artwork.
Yes.
All of them.
Yes.
The only one that I can't figure out who did it was the Uktena. I can't see any like labeling as to who did the art.
Yeah, I'm curious. Yeah, that's some great artwork too. Actually, it's a nice looking cover. Like I said, they definitely don't let down on the artwork. They try to get solid artists. So I mean,
yeah,
it will make your DVD Blu-ray shelf look nice.
Yeah. All right, I think that's good. Basically wraps it up.
Yeah, I mean, Howl from Beyond the Fog, guys. I mean, you pick it up. It's good watch. You'll enjoy it. Quick and easy.
All right. So if you guys liked it, we would appreciate if you gave this podcast a rating on whatever platform you're listening to it on, like on YouTube. And why don't you give us a follow or a subscribe?
Yeah, follow us at Major Squad on Twitter. Godzilla Island. What's your Twitter handle?
Just Dan the Animal.
Dan the Animal. And yeah, we'll probably include those notes in the notes here on the bottom. I don't know if you're listening on YouTube or anything else where we can put some comments there. Give us a like.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.